GM. Sorry, guys. Was talking to staking rewards and the call ran over. Appreciate your patience. Let me jump into the Zoom. Oh, we almost had Arena running this meeting. Oh man, then I'd be out of a job. All right. Do not join with audio. And open up this. And share my screen. All right. Welcome to Marketing Office Hours. Yeah, let's just hop right in and we'll get started. As always, we start with announcements, talk about upcoming campaigns, and then we have just questions and open forums at the end. So the first is that what I was 3 minutes late for. And Ethan, I've invited you to come up. I don't know how to force you up. So Staking Rewards is a website that is, presenting projects to stakers, and conversations are happening there for a possible agreement, and as well as Crypto.com for a price widget and other projects. But both of these services are offering the DAO services. And what we're doing right now is we're just taking the info, aggregating it into a document, and making it available. We'll be making it available for public discussion. I can actually show you what that looks like right now, while we're at it. Right here. God damn it. Right here. So basically they've proposed a package that we took notes on over the course of 2 calls, and they provided some case studies, and we'll be talking to them a little more about them. Mostly what we're asking questions about is what is the actual measurable impact, right? So what they say is that this is what they do and that there are these results, but questions that we have, being that we're data driven here, is okay, these look great. And I think that we would all agree here at the DAO that if these things were to become reality for the ShapeShift DAO and for Fox Token, we'd all be partying hardy. But for those of you who are familiar with Elrond, they provided some pretty awesome rewards on top of their staking, similar to what we did in the Fox Elk pool, pretty close to around the time when they were integrated with staking rewards, or at least soon after. At least I was doing it in early 2021. And so what I pointed out, what we have pointed out to their team is that, some of these metrics look like, and actually I could just put a line here, right? So some of these metrics look like blended metrics, and some of these metrics look like specific metrics. And so the questions that we have for the team is just how specific or how blended are these? Is this are these numbers buoyed by the fact that there was additional rewards with boosted pools and they were just sort of taking advantage of it, or was being listed on staking rewards a big list? And the reason why we're coming at it with such scrutiny is they are not talking about a small amount of money. They're talking about a $250,000 investment. And so getting clarity on these metrics and what these outcomes really were is of top priority before we start just putting this into the forums and we start debating it, because I think these are common questions that will come up. So for example, what I asked them to do is provide us a protocol, to provide us a look at a protocol that is integrated, that is possible, that has more history of pre and post, right? So for example, when you look at this graph, this looks really good, right? Everything is just going up and to the right, but is this sort of natural with staking protocols, or is this something that they are driving? And getting answers to the questions will allow the DAO to have a very productive conversation, and we can really evaluate whether these are projects or whether these are things that we want to take on as a DAO versus whether they're things we're going to pass on. So that is one reason why we're being very careful, and obviously we're being very respectful. And I think these are just normal questions when you're asking for that kind of money, and they haven't gotten back to us, we just got off the call, so they'll get back to us when they can. And then the second thing, and the reason why we're asking, is that we also I've noticed that there's a lot of exchanges listed here, but when you actually click on these exchanges, I don't know, what's course one, right? There really isn't an easy call to action as to how these users stake. When you actually go through the process, you end up getting just brought to all nodes, and is this a constant thing, or are there other types of calls to action that we can have here? And so essentially this is what we're going through, is this process of gathering all of this information, putting them in Google Docs, and then we'll put them in the forums for the community to just discuss, and then if we like them, bring them to ideation, bring them into an AMA so that they can talk to it, and so on and so forth, right? And we just felt that it was better to have these conversations prior, and get some information when we start getting these case studies, so that we can have a productive conversation as a governance group. So that's kind of where we're at with these particular announcements. and why we're, when you're being asked to possibly pay $250,000 for something, understanding how much of, the results that they claim are blended results of themselves and what protocols or projects are doing on their own versus what they claim to have, and how much listing, and how much listing on staking rewards brings benefit versus, maybe just like, what if we forego the $250,000 and instead just put $250,000 worth of Fox as another boost onto a staking pool, and we may get similar outcomes. So those are the questions that we're asking. The second is that creative services and marketing are starting to blend more and more. So T Wells, our phenomenal news reporter from OneHive, has agreed to make 2 videos per month. First one is being a little delayed because we want to get it very right. It's for Fox Chain. There's more to come on that, and so that is what we're working on now. But we will start getting more of those videos coming out, talking about the DAO, about the governance process, what's going on. There's also a multimedia backlog being built. So basically, we're taking the written content that we have become proficient at creating and making shareables. And that is what is being created. And so we are working with Gray Machine. We've got a couple of people. I see that Toddy's in the audience there, and one other person. Their portfolios are sitting in front of Gray Machine and Hoff right now to sort of vet. And if things go well, we'll be giving out test projects. We also have Mentega in the audience who's making videos for us. And I actually, Mentega, jump into my DMs. I owe you your first payment. I saw your second video today, and I haven't had a chance to watch it, but I will later. But ultimately, we are looking to become more multimedia centric and instead of just written word centric, and we are making strides on that. The third big thing is an update on metrics coming from Ethan. So I'm going to let Ethan take the stage, and you don't have to hear me talk anymore.
Go team. Thank you. Yeah, so basically the month of January and February, we went through an organic social media marketing plan in collaboration with everyone in the marketing workstream. And so now we just have a brief overview for everyone to look over in terms of what type of content has been performing best, how many total likes. Do you want to scroll to the top, Pete? Awesome. So we've created 64 pieces of organic content for ShapeShift social media in this time, and a significant month-over-month improvement from January to February. If we were to actually go and look at the nitty-gritty metrics that have created this. And from that organic content, excluding Twitter, we've generated about 10,000 views and over 2,500 likes from all of our content. Our top 3 performing content strategies in terms of average views have been DeFi memes, DAO governance related material, and ShapeShift how-to guides. And our top 3 most liked pieces of content have been around DAO opportunities, DeFi tech related, often having to do basically that's ShapeShift tech related, and then ShapeShift's community and event related items. And so we can kind of zoom in on those graphs. We don't have to though. And do you want? Maybe I can drop the link to the article for everyone in the chat. But you can see most liked pieces of content that we've had come through in the last 2 months was our ETH Denver article, our DAO opportunities we are hiring article, our interview on how does a DAO ensure quality assurance, our blog post on DAO culture, and then 5th, why code at a DAO, the interview with Josh Shapeshift, which has mostly been bigger marketing campaigns, like right there for most liked pieces of content. And then our most viewed content is actually things that have been more on the organic side and just kind of like DAO reporting and kind of just DAO community related items. So the first 3 were articles that were in the news, which is basically a ShapeShift DAO report that comes out weekly, covering different DeFi and market related news topics. You can catch that on Reddit every week. A ShapeShift meme that was made for Valentine's Day, definitely a lovely one. And then to be a shapeshifter in 5 steps was our 5th best performing. That's just a quick overview of Medium and what we have going on there. Yeah, if we want to, we could click that here link, Pete, just to show, like, it's probably not going to make a lot of sense. But the main thing I want you guys to focus on is the month-over-month change from January to February. And you can see there's many green items and a good month-over-month increase for a lot of things. And so now what we're going to do I'd say we're probably good there, Pete, if you want to. Awesome. Yeah, and so that's kind of a brief overview of what we've seen for metrics for January and February. And so now what we're going to do is kind of formulate a plan for the rest of March and April, how we can we're just going to ideate and get tactical on hitting our SCP-51 goals. So stay tuned for another kind of social media marketing plan coming from our end of the work stream. Yeah, that's kind of a brief overview. Any questions on that?
We'll keep an eye on the stage chat, or if people have their hands raised. But if you were in the op sprint this morning, we were talking about taking and revamping metrics. That is something that Ethan and Secret are starting to work on here, and I'm working on with the staking dashboards with Dune Analytics. Essentially, just separating out these graphs onto a separate tab that is a graph tab, so that people can more easily see what the nitty gritty says, and then ultimately leveraging these findings to make them usable and powerful. How do we continue to make these numbers move in the right directions and meet our goals as outlined in SCP-51, which can be found in the forums. Thanks, Ethan. That was awesome. So what's coming up? Well, I spoiled the first one. So we are revamping the metrics. Basically, what we've been doing is building a baseline for how we are going to be tracking things, as you saw, and now we want to make them accessible to the community. Now they are accessible to the community now. The way we're going to do it is we're not like keeping anything offline. We are working them in a live form. They're all living documents. If you go into our Notion, you go to the marketing workstream, all of our tracking is right here. Everything from the staking dashboard, which is in the process of being expanded, the social media report, which you just saw, trading data, which connects to 0x Tracker, since that is our trading engine right now. And then any other discrete reports are here. These are all going to be revamped over the next week or two as they become more user friendly. But if you ever want to see at any time what we're working on, this is a great page to start. Here's SCP-51 that we keep mentioning. That's the name of the past proposal. All of the marketing calendars, the community growth ideas, launches, the contributors, content creation with blogs, graphics, and processes. I mean, basically, we put as much available here as we can to keep things transparent and in the spirit of the DAO. And so we encourage people to go and check it out. And if you're too busy, then we will continue updating you on these Monday calls, whether you like it or not. Well, if you don't like it, I'm sure you could yell at us and we would stop, but we would do so reluctantly. So second big upcoming is the What Can I Do With My Fox campaign is underway, and the first article in the series went live today, and it's doing pretty well. Generally speaking, when we are launching things, we try to post them in places, and what we're really asking for, and I made sure not to do this before this call so I could show you guys, is we're asking for people to help us out in making them successful by leveraging the algorithm. So what does that mean? So basically, if you guys are subscribers to Medium or anything like that, if you have an account like I do here, you can see I've got my Pcoin account. Medium starts sending they will see they will track you, as we choose not to, but as many places do, and they will start sending you articles that are related to your interests. The way that they went, within our research, we looked up, okay, well, great. How do we get on there? That is what's most important to us. How do we get in front of more people? And really what matters is the reactions. And so when we post these things like we have in general, so here's a sweet, I'll drop a link in the ShapeShift DAO stage chat. Please go to these articles, read them, and if you see anything that's like typos, anything wrong, please let us know as quickly as possible. But also that, like, when these things occur, what we're asking for is for people to come and clap or comment or both. The reason for doing so is that these are the metrics that are the contributing factors as to who and what articles get pushed out in these emails that go out every day. So if you hold down the clap button, you can clap 50 times. And so theoretically, what we are trying to do is motivate the DAO to understand that this stuff is really important. You can clap 50 times on Medium. You can upvote and comment on Reddit. You can react in Telegram. There are ways to help the marketing workstream without like needing to take too much time out of your day. And it really does help us leverage the algorithms on these organic platforms to have us appear in front of more people so they can read the ShapeShift message and they can be inspired to join our community. And so we're putting these things out there and asking for your help. And the more the help that we can get, the better that we'll do. So that's really important. Wanted to show that live. And then additional ETH Denver follow-up material is coming. So we're going to be focusing on things that we hadn't already talked about, as well as focusing on a couple of the a couple of the things that express how we contributed to and how we were involved with ETH Denver. So focusing on the talks that we gave, which is the three of Danielle, Willie Fox, and Josh F. All three gave talks at ETH Denver, and there was also an interview in the Defiant by Kent, our tokenomics lead. And we are going to be wrapping all of that up together and trying to push that out more, as we were a sponsor there, and we had a charity dinner. We were a pretty big player there, and so we are going to continue pushing out content around that, and again continuing to ask the community to help us make it a success. So as we do on these calls, oh wow, we went long today. We usually try to keep this pretty short. Last 9 minutes, just open it up for questions, any open forums, anything you want to discuss. I usually bring back Lo-Fi, but Lo-Fi, it looks like, was just literally kicked out of the room. I usually just move it to the audience. And I'll keep an eye on the stage chat and see if anybody has their hands raised. But if not, give time back and continue to get on with our day. Thank you, Psychedelic. Oof. It was Giant Ken. Yikes. Now I'm embarrassed. Oh, you don't need to wait for me to stop talking. I'm loud enough. Now Giant Ken's trying to fuck me up. Come on, man. All right. No hands raised. Lo-Fi is gonna take us out. As always, it's a pleasure to